Ever wonder what's really going on inside someone's head? Well, we're about to pull back the curtain and meet the mind's secret bodyguards, these hidden strategies that are working around the clock to protect us.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You see someone react to something and it's just weird. It seems totally illogical, maybe a little over the top, and you're just left thinking, why? Why did they do that?
Well, believe it or not, there's a really good reason for those strange reactions. It's because our minds are constantly, and I mean constantly, playing defense for us, working overtime in ways we don't even realize.
And these little secret bodyguards, they actually have a name. We call them defense mechanisms. You can think of them as these unconscious psychological strategies our minds automatically pull out of a toolkit whenever we face anxiety, stress, or anything that just feels too much to handle. So to really get a grip on this, we're going to take a little journey into the mind. We'll look at 3 different levels of these defenses. We're going to start with the really healthy, helpful ones, then move to the more common stuff we all do, and finally, we'll get down to the really primal reactions. Let's dive in.
Okay, first up is level 1, the healthy toolkit. These are the good ones. The constructive, mature ways our minds help us cope and even thrive.
So let's kick things off with a story. Picture this. There's a guy, and he's just got these intense, aggressive urges, He could easily go down a bad path, getting into fights, getting in trouble. But instead of that, he becomes a star rugby player, famous for his incredible tackles.
So how does that happen? How do you take an impulse that could land you in jail and somehow turn it into a celebrated talent? What's going on in the mind to make that switch?
That, my friends, is something called sublimation. It's when your mind takes an impulse that's, not exactly socially acceptable and channels it into something that is, something productive, even amazing. Instead of a criminal record for fighting, he's getting scholarships for tackling. It's kind of genius, right? All right, here's another one. A woman is about to walk into a huge, important presentation. And then, disaster. She trips, coffee goes everywhere, all over her shirt. It is maximum cringe, total embarrassment. But she just walks in, looks at everyone, and makes a joke about it. Now, why would she do that? I mean, most of us would want the floor to just open up and swallow us whole. So what's happening in her brain that makes her go for a joke instead of just hiding? You guessed it, it's humor. But it's not just about being funny. It's a seriously sophisticated defense mechanism. She's not just diffusing her own stress, she's also putting everyone else in the room at ease. It's a total power move, psychologically speaking. Okay, let's move down to level 2, the common coping mechanisms. Now, this is stuff you and I probably do all the time. And look, they can be super useful. But, and this is a big but, if we rely on them too much, that's when things can get a little tricky. So, check out this story. A woman gets some really serious, scary medical news. But instead of fear, instead of tears, she becomes a researcher. She's suddenly diving into medical journals, pathology reports, survival statistics. It's all facts and figures. The actual feelings, they seem to have just vanished. So what's going on there? When feelings are what you'd expect, why does her mind just build a shield out of facts and data? What's that protecting her from? That is a perfect example of intellectualization. Basically, her mind is avoiding the uncomfortable emotions by focusing only on the intellectual parts of the problem. She's using facts to build a wall to keep that very real, very raw fear at bay. Oh man, I think we've all seen this next one play out. A guy gets totally humiliated by his boss at work. He can't say anything, right? He just has to stand there and take it. So he goes home, and that anger, that frustration, it explodes at his wife because she left one dish in the sink. It happens all the time, right? We take our anger out on someone who has nothing to do with it. So why? Why do we do that? Why does our mind take that anger and point it at the wrong person? Well, that's called displacement. Your mind is actually being pretty strategic here. It knows that yelling at your boss is a really bad idea. So it shifts that emotional reaction from the original source, the boss, to a safer, less threatening target, like a family member. It's not fair, but your brain sees it as the safer option. Okay, quick but important detour here. We gotta talk about 2 words that sound similar but are totally different. Repression and suppression. Think of it like this. Suppression is conscious. That's you deciding, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about that big bill until tomorrow. You're actively pushing the thought away.
Repression, on the other hand, is totally unconscious. Your mind automatically buries a traumatic memory so deep you don't even know it's there. One is you putting something away, the other is your mind hiding it from you completely.
And that brings us to our last stop, level 3, the primal reactions. Now, these are the kind of defenses you see in very young kids, but when they show up in adults, it can be a sign that there are some deeper issues going on.
And our last story for today it's a pretty intense one. A doctor tells a man, point blank, that his heavy drinking is destroying his liver. He lays it out, stop or you will die. The man listens, and then he walks right out of the doctor's office and straight to a bar. I mean, how? How can someone completely ignore a reality that is staring them right in the face? A reality that is literally a matter of life and death?
That is the raw power of denial. It's a refusal to accept facts. When a reality is just too painful, too overwhelming for the mind to handle, it just shuts it out. It's not pretending. For that person in that moment, it's as if that painful truth literally does not exist.
So there you have it, a quick tour of the mind's secret playbook, from the clever to the common to the primal. But, the real point here isn't just to understand other people. It's about looking inward. So I want to leave you with this final thought, a question to ask yourself. The next time you have a weird reaction or say something you don't quite mean, just pause and ask, what uncomfortable feeling might my mind be trying to protect me from right now? Seriously, think about it. The answer might just change everything.